The movie opens in the 1990s Chicago, where a young boy named Sahir hurries through the cold streets and steps into a small pawn shop. He innocently places his ring on the counter, but the shopkeeper slides back only $5, far less than he hoped, and seeing his disappointed face, the shopkeeper points at his wristwatch. It's his lucky watch and he hesitates to lose it, but when the shopkeeper offers $20 more, Sahir takes a painful pause and then reluctantly agrees. Taking the money, he races toward his father when suddenly a group of bullies blocks his path. They mock him harshly and snatch the cash. Just as they're about to beat him, Sahir quickly strikes back, slamming one of the thugs to the ground. Grabbing his money, he climbs onto a rooftop and tosses a mocking glance back before escaping. Soon, he enters his father's great Indian circus, where performers are busy preparing for the upcoming magic show. Once inside, he surprises his father and excitedly hands him the $25, hoping it might help clear his bank debt. Moved by his son's innocence, Iqbal tells him to keep the money safe and assures him the bank won't shut down their circus. He explains they'll put on their best show for the bank officials today, and if they're impressed, he'll get an extension. Calling Sahir a great magician, Iqbal adds that with his lucky son beside him, no one can call their circus a failure. That evening, bank owner Anderson arrives with his managers. Backstage, a nervous Iqbal steadies himself when Sahir gives him courage, reminding him of their quote that they are each other's strength and no one can harm them as long as they stand together. Shortly after, Iqbal steps onto the stage and opens the show with dazzling magic tricks, from slick sleight of hand to mesmerizing card illusions that impress the officials. Soon, Sahir joins him, performing daring stunts with the other children, captivating the crowd with impressive juggling of balls and fire lamps. After that, Iqbal is now ready for the most spectacular act of the show, the disappearance act. He locks Sahir in a box, and when he opens it, Sahir has vanished. To everyone's shock, Sahir suddenly reappears from the other side of the stage and lands gracefully in front of the officials. To impress them even more, he pulls a card from Anderson's pocket, but Anderson dismissively throws it onto the table. As the show ends, Iqbal is confident he's won over the officials, but Anderson coldly gives him 5 days to vacate the property and shut down the circus. Iqbal pleads, insisting he showed them the best magic a circus could offer, but Anderson dismisses it as a foolish show and walks away, leaving Iqbal heartbroken and defeated. As Anderson walks away, Sahir tries to stop him, insisting their circus is the best and will succeed one day, but Anderson stays unmoved, leading Sahir to beg for mercy until Iqbal sternly stops him, saying never beg before anyone in life. Overwhelmed by despair, Iqbal pulls out a gun and looks into Sahir's tearful eyes. Just after muttering "Bankers may you rot in hell," he shoots himself, and the echo of the gunshot transitions the story 20 years forward. A grown, muscular, and handsome Sahir wakes up with one mission to destroy Anderson's bank from the ground up, motivating himself with his father's quote. Cut to the next scene. Anderson's Western Bank of Chicago is shown, where an old man is begging behind the building when suddenly, a massive shower of currency notes rains down from above. As the crowd dives to grab them all, Sahir rappels down the building and lands in front of the old man. Spotting the police closing in, Sahir quickly takes off and dives into his van. Within seconds, petrol cars and several cops surrounded the van from all sides until a sudden explosion tears it open, and from the flames, Sahir rolls out effortlessly on his sleek BMW bike. Once slips past the police, Sahir slams the accelerator and rockets forward. The police immediately reverse and launch after him, kicking off a frantic high-speed chase through the city. Little ahead, a towering truck appears in his path, but Sahir expertly drifts and slides his bike underneath it with inches to spare. Snaping back upright with a smooth wheelie, he goes on a full rampage through the busy Chicago streets, while several police cars and bikes swarm behind him. One officer gets too close, and Sahir delivers a brutal kick that sends the biker crashing straight into a newspaper stand. After shaking off the police, Sahir darts into an underpass and the cops deploy a spike strip, but he snaps the bike into a sharp turn and shoots onto the wrong side, weaving flawlessly through the traffic. Moments ahead, police cars block him in again and Sahir slips his bike through the narrow gap with smooth precision. Cutting across the pedestrian walkway, he bursts onto the main street and races into a parking lot. Within moments, the cops block both the entrance and the exit, ready to trap him inside, but Sahir has other plans. He hooks onto a thick cable connected to the next building, and after a brief pause, he rides out and shoots onto the cable, balancing like a pro. Once he crosses to the opposite roof, he speeds down the stairs and rockets out the back, disappearing like a shooting star as the police watch helplessly. The scene shifts to a bustling Indian slum, where a notorious gangster has police officer Ali hanging upside down. They cut him loose only after he promises to reveal information about his senior partner Jay, but instead, Ali distracts them with sarcastic banter and jokes that subtly insult the gangster. Losing his patience, the gangster is about to shoot when suddenly a wall bursts and Ali partner Jay make a flamboyant entrance. Everyone expects a sleek car, but he arrives on an eye-catching auto rickshaw and slams it into a sharp stoppie that takes out the goons surrounding Ali. The whole sequence looks mind-blowing as Jay takes down the attackers with incredible precision, and Ali jumps into the rickshaw. The gang gave chase and Jay daringly launched the rickshaw across the slum rooftops. As he lands back on the road, more thugs leap on top, attacking with knives and rods. Jay and Ali fight them off while speeding through the streets, kicking each thug off one by one. For the last attacker, Jay delivers a powerful kick that sends him crashing with the windshield. They move a little farther and see the gangster and his men blocking their path. Without slowing down, Jay hits the accelerator, but the rickshaw betrays them on the spot. All the tires shatter, handles snap on Jay's hand, and the vehicle looks hilariously unbelievable. All the goons charge after them as they tear through the narrow slum alleys, but few thugs manage to grab Jay, dragging him into a brutal close-quarters fight. He smashes through the walls with them and unleashes a barrage of powerful punches and kicks, dropping them one by one with his unbelievable strength. After finishing the goons, Jay casually steps out of the shattered wall just as Ali bursts through a poster on his speedy bike. Jay jumps on it, grabs an iron rod, and together they tear through the slum as Jay knocks down the remaining goons with brutal strikes while Ali weaves the bike like a pro. At the end, the gang leader leaps from a rooftop to ambush them, but Jay counters with a high-flying punch that sends him crashing onto a cart below. I know this scene may be over the top, but it's genuinely thrilling to watch. Back in California, a striking police officer, Victoria, arrives at the bank to meet Anderson. Frustrated, he vents that the bank has been robbed twice in a year and the thief is still at large. He takes her to the vault, where Sahir has left his clown mask and his father's final words, "Bankers may rot in hell." That night, Sahir stands before the great Indian circus, overwhelmed by memories of his childhood and the tragedy of his father's death. With the fire of revenge burning in his eyes, he silently tells his father that he has returned and swears to bring Anderson and his bank to the ground. The next morning, officers Jay and Ali are brought in by the California police to hunt down the thief. As they discuss the thief, a rider suddenly approaches them with bold and stylish presence. When the helmet comes off, it turns out to be Victoria, who has arrived to pick them up. Seeing her beauty, Ali can't help but daydream, imagining a joyful life with her, marriage, and even having kids, but his fantasies shatter the moment he sees her giving all her attention to Jay. Still, Ali tries to flirt with her in his broken and hilarious English, even lying that he's the boss and will single-handedly catch the thief. After this, he expecting to ride with her, but instead, Jay left him behind on the bus and leaves with Victoria on her bike. The scene then shifts to the great Indian circus, and we come to know that Sahir has revived his father's dream, turning it into a hugely popular and successful circus. With the show only days away, Sahir still needs a skilled female performer. As he urges his manager to find one, a girl named Aliyah barges in and argues with the guards. Frustrated with her, the manager tells Sahir that she's auditioned several times and been rejected. Undeterred, she pushes past the guards and pleads with Sahir for one last chance. Seeing her stubbornness, Sahir reluctantly gives her 5 minutes but warns her to never return if he rejects her. Sahir sits silently as Aliyah begins her audition. The moment she steps on stage, the room seems to crackle with energy. Her fluid movements, daring acrobatics, and bold calisthenics make her a perfect fit for the circus. At first, in her plain outfit, she seems boring, until she sheds each layer, revealing a striking presence and bold beauty that stuns everyone. Her performance blends skill, charm, and fearless stunts, proving she's designed for the circus. When she finishes, Sahir praises her talent and instantly hires her as the lead performer. The scene shifts to the bank, where Jay, his team, and Anderson discuss the case. Jay believes the thief has a personal grudge, since he targets only this bank and leaves messages filled with hatred. Meanwhile, Sahir watches the news as Jay speaks to a reporter, boldly calling the thief a fool and warning that if he tries to strike again while Jay is in charge, it will be his biggest mistake and be caught. Showing bold confidence, Sahir walks into the police station and directly approaches Jay, introducing himself and claiming he knows the thief and can help catch him. In Jay's office, he shows old photos of a man named Clown, who once worked with him in the circus. Sahir quickly fabricates a story, saying Clown was lonely, depressed, and developed a hatred for bankers after his father's suicide and suggests he's likely behind the recent robberies. When Jay asks why he wants his friend arrested, Sahir says he owes Clown many favors and hopes the police catch him so he receives a lighter punishment. Naively impressed, Jay believes him and agrees to take his help. The next day, Sahir returns to the police station to work with Jay on a plan. Jay shares the bank's interior key details and their strategy to shift the money. Meanwhile, Sahir secretly records everything with a hidden camera. His goal isn't to help Jay, but to stay a step ahead by learning Jay's entire plan. 3 days later, Sahir calls Jay and claims that, based on what he knows about Clown, the thief will strike tomorrow on Clown Day. He adds that he'll be busy with his circus show, so Jay will have to catch the thief alone and wishes him luck. The next day, Jay stations Ali outside the bank, but he is busy chatting with his girlfriends until Jay suddenly shows up and scolds him, strictly warning him to stay alert. Moments after Jay leaves, a shower of banknotes rains down from above, throwing the bank into chaos as the guard spots Sahir and gives a frantic chase until Sahir reaches on the rooftop. As security corners Sahir, escape seems impossible, but staying one step ahead, he activates a cable and leaps off the building, while the guards can only watch helplessly. Once down, Sahir quickly goes inside a basement and explodes back out on his bike moments later and tears off like a missile, sending the police into a frantic chase. Storming through the crowded street, Sahir sharply dodges the police and dives into a pedestrian lane, where pro rider Ali waits for him. Instead of slowing down, Sahir hits the speed and pulls a long slick stoppie, slipping past Ali by mere inches, showing an absolutely jaw-dropping moment. Refusing to back down, Ali quickly turns around and jumps back into the chase as Sahir bursts onto the bustling road again, and moments later, Jay also joins the pursuit. After a little chase, Jay and Ali close in from behind as multiple police cars block the road ahead, and Sahir finds himself trapped on the bridge. As Jay signals the staff, the bridge begins to open and Sahir starts sliding down towards Jay. Refusing to be caught, Sahir accelerates hard, the tires begin screeching, and Sahir daringly jumps out of the bridge. Ready for everything, he taps a button and the bike instantly transforms into a jet ski. Picks up the speed, he rampages his bike across the water, forcing Jay to quickly grab a boat and give chase, sparking a high-octane and cinematic water pursuit. Meanwhile, Ali races down the pedestrian path and stares to reach the other side of the lake. He quickly jumps into a boat, only to find 2 beautiful chicks inside. Lost in his daydreams, he again begins imagining his fantasy with them, but he's caught off guard when Sahir suddenly approaches and crashes hard into the boat in an attempt to cross it. While the collision thrills Ali as the girls tumble onto him, Jay watches in frustration as Sahir rockets back onto the street and escapes like a missile. Refusing to give up, Jay climbs into a helicopter and spots Sahir weaving through the highway like a serpent. Without hesitation, he shoots Sahir in the shoulder, forcing him to quickly move into an underpass. After a while, Jay and Ali with the entire police force swarm the area, searching frantically, but Sahir has disappeared like air. That night, Sahir opens the show with Aliyah, and together they mesmerize the audience, his daring stunts and her bold presence holding every eye. The highlight is Sahir's signature disappearance act. He steps into a box, vanishes in an instant, and reappears on the opposite side of the auditorium, leaving the crowd stunned and making his debut show with Aliyah a spectacular success. Backstage, Aliyah congratulates Sahir on the successful show, but he rudely ignores her and walks away just as Jay and Ali arrive with the entire police force. Sahir acts confused by their sudden entry, but Jay bluntly accuses him of being the thief. Sahir brushes it off as a misunderstanding, calmly claiming he was busy with the show. Determined to expose him, Jay demands that he remove his shirt to reveal the gunshot wound. When Sahir hesitates, Jay aims his gun, forcing him to remove his shirt, and to everyone's shock, his body has no wounds at all. Even the scanner finds nothing. Jay left stunned and furious, insisting he saw Sahir's face and demanding to know how he hid the injury. Sahir just smirks, saying he's a magician and anything is possible for him. Ali and the officers urge Jay to stand down, but before leaving, Jay vows to expose Sahir at any cost. Sahir calmly accepts the challenge. After the heated confrontation, Sahir returns to his home, back at the auditorium, and sits quietly before the mirror. Moments later, we realize it isn't a reflection, but his twin brother Samar, bearing a fresh bullet wound on his shoulder. Sahir asks about the pain, and Samar calmly replies that it's nothing compared to their mission. The film slips into a flashback, revealing how Sahir and Samar used to assist their father in his famous disappearance act, where Samar would hide inside the box while Sahir appeared on the other side. Unlike Sahir, Samar was innocent and childlike, with a gentle stammer that made him endearing. He was their father's favorite and lucky charm, someone he wanted to keep hidden from the world. Samar often teasing Sahir with his father's support and challenging him in small stunts and climbs. During one challenge, Sahir slips, but Samar grabs his hand just in time. Their father tells Samar never to leave his brother alone in life and to be each other's strength. After their father's death, Sahir steps into that role, protecting and caring for Samar even more than their father ever did. Back in the present, the truth is revealed that Sahir and Samar have been working together the entire time, constantly switching places to outsmart the police. The man seen entering the parking lot was Sher, while the one who came outside is Samar. Inside the bank, Sahir recorded everything, but at home, Samar planned the entire robbery. Meanwhile, Anderson and the California police remove Jay and Ali from the case and order them to return to India after failing to catch the thief. Frustrated, Jay prepares to leave, but Ali refuses, insisting they won't go back until they catch him and protect their spotless record of never being defeated. Motivated by Ali's determination, Jay decides to stay in California, live at Victoria's place, and continue the investigation on his own. Meanwhile, Samar often talks to his father through his diary, pouring out his deepest feelings. This time, he confesses that he has fallen for Aliyah, but he knows he can never tell her, since his role in the show is so small. The next day, Sahir's circus show begins again, and Jay sneaks in disguised as a mechanic. After the magic act, he spots Samar entering an elevator and quickly climbs onto its roof to follow him. Watching from above, Jay is stunned to discover that Sahir and Samar are twin brothers. As he pieces the truth together, he overhears their conversation and learns that Samar only goes out on Sundays. At Victoria's house, Jay reveals the truth to Ali and Victoria and outlines a plan to use Samar's innocence to gather solid evidence against the brothers. The next morning, Samar heads out for his weekly holiday. Happily talking to himself, he shares everything about his life that Sunday is his favorite day, the only time he can step outside, breathe fresh air, enjoy life, and escape the captivity of his hidden world by living as himself, not as Sahir's shadow. While Samar buys a burger, the shopkeeper turns out to be Ali, hilariously disguised as Jack Sparrow, and look really amazing when he chases Jay, who's dressed as a beggar, and then hides behind Samar. Pretending Jay stole the burger is all part of their plan, and it works perfectly, as Samar unknowingly helps Jay and distracts Ali. Samar gently tells him that stealing is wrong and shares his burger. After a warm conversation, the two quickly bond, spending the day riding roller coasters, eating lunch, and laughing as their vibes instantly click. For the first time in his life, Samar feels he's found a real friend, and he gifts him tickets to his circus show. Meanwhile, Sahir arrives at Anderson's bank disguised as a wealthy, longtime customer. The staff leads him to his locker and hands him a box containing his childhood belongings and that old $25. Holding it, he quietly remembers his father and with cold resolve tells him he will destroy the bank soon. That night, Jay and Ali attend Sahir and Samar's circus show, keeping a close watch on everything. The following Sunday, Jay meets Samar again and this time dressed neatly, saying he has found a job. While chatting, Jay compliments his circus show and casually assumes Aliyah is his girlfriend. Samar blushes and denies it, but when Jay playfully insists and teases him, he finally admits that he likes her but is afraid to tell her. Jay encourages him to confess, saying he noticed those feelings during the show and is sure Aliyah likes Sahir too. Hearing Sahir, Samar's heart sinks and she realizes that, just like Jay said, Aliyah only knows Sahir and to the world, Samar doesn't exist at all. With this, Jay's plan to manipulate him has worked. Shaken by the harsh truth, Samar rushes to Sahir, trembling with nerves and emotion. He insists he wants to perform his role in tonight's show, asking Sahir to take his place inside the box. Sahir immediately refuses, doubting Samar can handle it. Feeling insulted, Samar angrily insists again and is confident that he can do. Confused by his sudden outburst and change in behavior, Sahir hesitates but finally agrees, just for one time. Later that night, the show begins and this time it's Samar performing with Aliyah. Everything goes smoothly, but after the show, Aliyah stops him backstage. She says he seemed different today as she's always tried to get his attention, and he ignored, but tonight he finally made a little effort, which she really liked. Samar blushes hard, and when Aaliyah asks him out on a date, he immediately agrees. A little later, Sahir notices Samar getting dressed and asks him what's happening. Excited, Samar says he's going on a date with Aaliyah and they like each other. Sahir angrily reminds him that, to Aaliyah, he doesn't exist, and like everyone, she also only knows Sahir. The truth hits Samar hard, leaving him quietly heartbroken, but he still insists on going. Sahir reprimands him, reminding him they're just steps away from their goal, explaining Aaliyah would notice his stammering and realize he isn't Sahir. Samar argues he can handle it and rudely tells he's not a child and refusing to remain Sahir's shadow forever. In anger, Sahir snaps and slaps him hard, instantly realizing that he's gone too far, but heartbroken, Samar walks away. Despite everything, Samar goes to meet Aaliyah. She gently fixes his laces and begins flirting with him, making him blush non-stop. As they spend time together, they end up at a train platform where Aaliyah admits she likes his innocent side far more than the arrogant version she sees when he's her boss. In that heartfelt moment, she can't resist and softly kisses him. Blushing, she says a warm goodbye and leaves on the metro, promising they'll meet again soon. Soon after, Samar excitedly meets Jay in the park, thanking him for giving him the courage to confess to Aaliyah. Jay takes him aside, removes his fake beard, and reveals his true identity, leaving Samar stunned and betrayed. Jay insists it was only to help him and that their friendship was real, but Samar refuses to listen. Jay then reveals he knows Sahir and Samar are twins who commit the robberies together, urging Samar to surrender, and it's his responsibility that they should be punished at least. Jay raises his hand in friendship, thinking he's convinced Samar, but suddenly the hand slams to the ground. The abrupt change in body language reveals it's actually Sahir, not Samar, leaving Jay completely shocked. It's revealed that Sahir had been keeping an eye on Samar, aware of their meetings. After Aaliyah leaves, Sahir secretly knocks Samar unconscious and puts on his clothes to meet Jay. Back on the scene, we see Sahir tie Jay to the roller coaster track, and despite this, Jay tries to convince him, but Sahir says that he has no enmity with Jay, but he would have left him alive today if he had not played with Samar's feelings. Sahir starts the roller coaster and says that on this very day his father died, and today, he will destroy the bank completely. Luckily, Ali arrives just in time. He frees Jay, and together they narrowly escape the speeding coaster. Meanwhile, Sahir and Samar gear up for the mission, repeating their father's quote for strength. On the other hand, Jay alerts the police and SWAT quickly locks down the bank. Moments later, Sahir releases gas inside the bank, incapacitating several officers and staff members. As everyone is evacuated, Jay spots two officers slipping away, and they're Sahir and Samar. Before he can react, the building erupts in a massive explosion, and the brothers speed off on their bikes amid the chaos. Jay and Ali give chase as police cars swarm to block the road, but the brothers expertly launch their bike into the air and soar past the force effortlessly. Ali and Jay join the police in pursuit as the brother weaves through the streets, staying well ahead of them. After a brief chase, Sahir and Samar split up and took a different route, forcing the police to divide and follow separately. Tracking each other's movements, the brothers drive the pursuers crazy, forcing them into a confusing maze-like chase where no one can get close. Their plan works perfectly at an intersection when Sahir and Samar narrowly avoid a collision, but a police car isn't as lucky, crashing violently as Jay and Ali barely escape being hit. Catching their breath for a moment, Ali and Jay resume the chase and Sahir heading into a basement lane. Jay spots Sahir and charges after him, refusing to lose this time, but Sahir suddenly vanishes. As Jay moves cautiously, Sahir bursts out of hiding with a sudden attack and Jay dodges by a hair. They turn their bikes and charge straight at each other. At a rocket speed, Sahir strikes again, but Jay evades the blow with a smooth stoppie. Both grab iron rods and race toward each other again. This time, Sahir's strike lands hard and Jay loses control, crashing into the debris. Pinned under his bike, Jay struggles as Sahir approaches and is about to finish him, but after a hard stare, spares him and rides away. Bursting out of the basement, Sahir reunites with Samar. Together, they shoot off like twin missiles, vanishing from everyone's sight in a split second. After some time, Jay meets Ali, who's already losing hope, convinced they'll never catch Sahir and Samar, but Jay isn't done yet as he's got a solid plan. By morning, the brothers are racing out of the city when a police helicopter swoops in and cuts off their path. As they turn their bikes around, Samar spots the police holding Aaliyah and he freezes. Sahir urges him to keep going, but Jay and Ali surround them from the other side. With every exit sealed, Sahir realizes there's no way out and finally surrenders. Sahir walks up to Jay and hands him a disc, evidence detailing every heist. He offers it on one condition, to spare Samar. Sahir insists Samar is innocent, just a loyal brother caught in the crossfire, while he alone is responsible for everything. Moved by friendship and Samar's innocence, Jay accepts the deal. Overcome with emotion, Sahir tells Samar he's finally free to live as himself with Aliyah, not as his shadow. He tearfully apologizes for slapping him. Before Samar can respond, Sahir jumps off the dam, but Samar catches him, just as he did in childhood. Sahir begs him to let go, saying the police can't hurt him anymore, but Samar remembers their father's words about never abandoning your brother. Together, they repeat their father's quote and leap from the dam, ending both their lives. The final scene shows Anderson's bank completely destroyed and shut down. With its downfall, the brothers' revenge is finally fulfilled and the movie ends here. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Additionally, if you love Indian movies, you're in the right place as we bring the best explanations for global audiences. Before you go, drop your favorite Indian movie in the comments for us to explain next, and also check out more of our content.